good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first look here. And we're going to take our first look at the Breeders' Cup with me, my man, Chappie. Great to have you here. It's been a great week so far. It's just a lot of excitement all week long.
Yeah, a lot of excitement and just getting started. The next couple days is what it's all about. I think Gino's been doing either replays or podcasts or radio or TV shows for like 4 days straight. So, and look at him. He's still as bubbly. The guy has more energy than you, George.
No, I got the battery charged right now. We're plugged in, and we got like a good meter of battery running till about Saturday afternoon. Then when that thing is ready to crash, it's like a camel, right? I'm gonna store up all that energy for these next few days. I love it. Some people say it's overkill with some of the information, but you know what? This is the time to do it. For our sport. This is the time when you're going to really take a deep dive to all the horses and all the races and what they've done this year coming in and how they come into these races. And so I think with the podcast alone, we had 3 shows, a different guest for every single race, something like 13 plus hours of content for the Breeders' Cup coming up this week. So, hey, we helped you out and hopefully we did our best. And wow, I got really lucky to speak with some very, very sharp handicappers, 19 different people talking different races, getting to see how all these different handicappers approach the game. It's so awesome. I was like a sponge. I was learning from everybody except for Chappie. I didn't learn a whole lot from him, but I'm just kidding.
That's all right. At least I put my 2 cents in. They weren't any good, but I'll take it.
We're going to get into some races on Friday and a lot of races on Saturday. We're only going to do half an hour. We're going to try to make this quick. Before we start, though, I got 2 things I want to mention. One, I want to congratulate Rodney Prescott, who I got to meet here a couple of times. Really nice gentleman, very nice, good jockey. He got the 4,000 win, so he got to the 4,000 win plateau at Indiana Grand. That's quite an accomplishment, huh, Gino?
Oh my goodness, just unbelievable. And think about how many times you do something, right? Anything you do that many times, let alone having to get into the winner's circle, that's just insane, right? I get up and brush my teeth, and I'm happy I do it 4 days in a row. So that's just incredible.
That's incredible. I also want to mention, Chappie, really sad news. We lost Miguel Mena in a tragic car accident, and everybody who talks about him, I didn't know him personally, but you read all the accounts that he was just one of the nicest jockeys in that Kentucky colony.
Yeah, what a sad time, and thoughts, prayers to his family and everything. And like you said, all the stories coming out, obviously talented guy, but too young, too soon, and seemed to be a favorite of everyone in the jocks room. So yeah,
just shy of his 35th birthday, and he left a couple of nice young little girls, and so our heart goes out to that family. And man, Gino, being a jockey is so dangerous. You figure that's where you're gonna buy the farm, and he gets hit by a car. How wacky is that?
Unbelievable. And in horse racing, in this industry, sometimes we can be our own worst enemies against each other, and sometimes we don't support each other all that much. But I'll tell you, when there's a crisis, when there's a tragic event just like this, that's when you really see the true colors sometimes in the horse racing industry, when people step up and support and show you how they can help you. So I've seen a lot of people stepping up and doing anything they can to try to help in just an incredibly, incredibly horrifying situation. Like it's so hard to comprehend, especially right now during this time when there's so much great energy leading up to these 2 days for our sport. Everyone's buzzing, everyone's talking. It's just such sad news.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, everybody is buzzing about 2 spectacular days of racing. Chappie, everybody's buzzing about domestic spending getting scratched, though. What a scratch that was.
Yeah, that I'm in love with that horse, and that was probably going to be my single on many multi-race wagers, but that's the way it goes. United and domestic spending both scratched within about 10 minutes of each other this morning. It's tough. Both seem to be fine. Everything seems, they're taking extraordinary precautions for both of them. So it looks like nothing too serious, but you got to take the horse first. Unfortunate for us gamblers, maybe for some not that way if they wanted to bet against domestic spending. One of my favorite horses in training, though.
All right, me and Chappie, Gino, we both hit the pick 5 today at Del Mar, so we got some spending money. $897, like with a free square in the first leg. So we're feeling good. We got a bankroll. We got a bankroll. Let's make the best of this bankroll. Let's start with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. It's race number 6 on Friday. And Gino, we're gonna go to you first because you kind of have some information for us there.
Yep, we're going to go right off the bat. This is the first Breeders' Cup race of the weekend, and I like the 11 in here, Dairy Nane. This is a 5-furlong turf sprint. There is a good amount of speed signed on. Averly Jane for Wesley Ward is really, really quick, but, she's a 2-year-old filly who she could win this race. She's been excellent in all 4, but I think in this field with some others that are proven, that have some speed, she might be in a tough spot. I look at what Dairy Nane has done. Yeah, she's a 2-year-old filly. She's coming in from Woodbine. We don't know exactly what she beat last time out, but wow, was she impressive in doing so. 2 starts back. If you take a look at the way that turf course was at Saratoga that day, it was yielding, and that may have not even been the true condition. I think that's an absolute toss because the way the turf was, she's not going to get that kind of turf down at Del Mar where it will be much, much firmer. I think the race sets up very well for her. I stacked them 11 over 7 and 6 as other horses I'm going to use in a lot of my exotics. I think Dairy Nane has a big, big shot for Christophe Clement to get us a nice price right off the bat in the Breeders' Cup races.
I like it.
Definitely a Dairy Nane, and Rosario on pace to break the record for the most stakes wins in a year. So he's just really hot. And,
doesn't he fit her perfectly, Georgie, with the way he can finish, being like the best finisher in the world? Like I love him. Yep.
Yeah. All right, and then Georgie, you were going on to race 7, I think. Didn't you have somebody you liked in that?
And I really think that race 7 is a good race to start the pick 4. It's the Juvenile fillies, 1 mile and a 16th, and Echo Zulu is 4 to 5, is going to get all the attention. I really like Hidden Connection. I think Hidden Connection for Brett Calhoun. Gutierrez, not your big name jockey, so it's easy to root for somebody like Gutierrez. For him to get a Grade 1 Breeders' Cup would be just icing on the cake for him. And I think Hidden Connection is really super fast. The Pocahontas is getting a good post position, much better price you're going to get because everybody's going to be on board. Echo Zulu, I like Hidden Connection in race number 7 to start the pick 4.
One little mention in the Gino, you can go over anybody you like in there. I have no opinion yet. The only thing I saw as I've been watching the works, and if somebody gallops by and you just say, wow, this horse looks on edge, a monster neck bowed, and that was Juju's Map. I wrote on the sheet, looks like a monster in the morning. Don't know what that means, but just, on appearance alone,
she caught your eye.
And I didn't see the others, so I'm not going to say this horse stood out, but just looked terrific.
Bummer for Ain't Easy, who we really liked too. That was the Phil D'Amato runner who ended up having to scratch. They would have been, I think, a live player in this spot. That was a horse who I was really excited about. But
Me too.
Georgie, I agree with you in Hidden Connection. I love the fact that she's just shown that she can sit off a little bit, right? And if it's a small field, but when you look at the major players in this race, well, Echo Zulu wants to be on the lead. Juju's Map, I don't think they're going to want to let Echo Zulu get away. She should be pretty close up. And if Hidden Connection also gets caught up, that's where she could get in trouble. If she can sit maybe third right behind them, even look at a horse like Tarabi, she might be showing
stretching out. She's going to show speed. Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, if for some reason there are 3 or 4 in this small field that are kind of pressing each other, the one horse who I'm going to use at least in under, and in some of my late pick 4s and pick 5s, is Sequest, who I actually think if they go fast enough, she's the one that takes advantage. And so I'm going to flop her in a few, but I like Georgia Hidden Connection. I agree. She was actually, her and Sequest were my top 2 in here. I preferred them over the others that might be a little shorter price.
It's weird to me that Steve Asmussen, his go-to guy is Santana, and I've seen a lot of Asmussens this week without Santana. So he lost.
For about 92 in a row.
He won one. He won one today,
but not for Asmussen.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
And now he took him off of this horse, and Joel's jumping aboard. Joel would have been aboard. Ain't Easy, but since. Remember when that happened in the Derby and that didn't work out all that well when Joel jumped aboard, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to race number 8. It's the Juvenile Fillies Turf. And Chappie, you like a runner in this race. Talk to me about the this mile race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is kind of a wide open race, and many ways you can go. One horse that caught my and I think you might like a horse in here, George, one of the Euros. But from what I've heard, the 12 Malavath is very impressive. But that's not the horse I want to talk about. The horse I want to talk about is the 7 Consumer Spending for Chad Brown. You go back, and if you watch that race at Laurel, this horse had some trouble. Took a while to kind of get out, was down on the inside, kind of uncomfortable. Finally, when this horse got in the clear, giant turn of foot and just exploded. Probably didn't beat a whole lot, but there's a lot more under the tank. Mm-hmm. And I love that Flavian Pratt now riding a lot for Chad Brown. I'm liking Consumer Spending at 8-1.
Chad Brown, I heard him being interviewed. He's really become enamored with Flavian Pratt and is using him left and right. And this is a guy who has never used any West Coast jockeys. And Pratt's he's just that impressive. He's just so wonderful. And I think
he's got the clock. He just gets it. When to go, when to not. I'm going to go early. There's no pace. Let's steal the race. It's just, I trust him in any situation.
Yeah.
And Chad said he always seems to put him in the right spot, and he does. He just has always in the perfect spot. Where the horse may not be good enough, but he puts him where he can win.
Yeah. Like Gino said, even if it's against the type of the horse, he immediately stays out of trouble or picks up whether the pace is slow, fast, whatnot, and just always seems to be in the right spot. It's amazing the way he does that.
Yeah, Consumer Spending, Chappie, is a major player. I think I had him stacked second in here. And I had her stacked second in here, and I will be using her in most of my rolling exotics.
Who was your top pick? Who was your top pick in there, Gino?
The 13 Mise en Scene. Is coming over. Faced Group 1 company last time out and was behind a horse named Inspiral, who is 4 for 4 and undefeated. Mise en Scene got stuck in a bad spot, kind of behind horses buried. Once she got a seam, she stretched her legs really nicely. She finished 4th. She just missed second in that spot, and she was behind a very, very nice one. I think she's got a major chance in here. So I had 7, 13 as my top 2, and I'll be using them in a lot of rolling exotics.
Okay.
Yeah. I think California Angel is not out of the realm of possibilities as well. There was a nice little vignette there on George Leonard III, who's got a couple running this weekend. And so, it's easy to root for somebody like that.
He's a guy I'm rooting for sure. Yeah. One of the best stories of the weekend, no doubt.
Yeah. And like you said, with the post with her, you don't worry all that much about it because she can drop way out of it anyways and make one late run. The getting parked wide might not hurt her that much.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely the Juvenile, obviously, telling who's going to be one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby. You got Jack Christopher and Corniche. They're going to be probably going at it head-to-head. An interesting race. I don't have a strong opinion in that race. Any of you guys?
You mentioned Corniche before Corniche ever ran on this show, George.
Yeah.
You had talked about the buzz.
He was a beast. And
I remember you had said the buzz. You basically forced people to single Corniche that day. You were like, don't even waste your money with anybody else. I'm telling you, if Corniche doesn't win, I will pay you the money myself. You were like forcing people. And Corniche has been very good. I think I actually prefer Jack Christopher of the two, just because Jack Christopher on figures and stuff has been super impressive. The horse who I do think as a maiden, like what if Corniche and Jack Christopher start worrying about each other a little bit too much, and then they get caught up? The horse Command Performance, who was behind Jack Christopher last time out, if he just takes one step forward, he kind of might be that now horse in the right spot.
If I had to do a top pick, it would be the 10 as well. I mean, because I think that the bookends are going to go after each other, and it's going to set it up.
Playing a little
I got to mention one thing real quick, and give me 30 seconds. So this is not a tout on this at all, but a good friend of mine who's only owned a handful of horses, Ryan Ritt, owns Tough to Tame, the 11 horse. If you see Ridiculous Stable, that's him. He's a buddy of mine from Chicago, and he is on cloud 9. He's been at Del Mar all week, so I'm rooting like heck for them. Just, to hit the board, do something. But
I haven't picked third in here.
do you really?
Well, really?
Yeah.
He actually was in tight right away. He
Yeah.
had to back out of a spot. Was just not a fan of being down towards the inside. He was a couple lengths off. He was in the second flight. And then once he angled off, he had dead aim. He drifted a little bit and got a little green late, but if he's a big price, you sort of know what you're going to get. He's going to loom up and give you a really good account of himself.
Yep. Yeah.
Me too. I got him picked 9th. All right, let's move on to race number 10. And I really love a horse in this race. I can't believe he's 8-1. It's a 2-year-old in the juvenile turf that has looked really impressive. I love Danny Gargan as a trainer. Sai as a board. Dakota Gold at 8-1. I'm going to have a bunch of tickets singling the 3. I'm going to use another ticket with spreading out, but how does this horse 8-1 on the morning line working bullets coming into this race? The best last race thoroughgraph number by far. It's not even close. I love Dakota Gold at 8-1. I'm betting them to win. I'm betting them I'm going to use them everywhere. And it's going to be, my top pick. He's done nothing wrong. 2 starts, 2 wins. Sias gets back aboard. I love Dakota Gold in the finale on Friday.
I'm going to give you another 8-1 shot to look out for, Georgie, and that's the 6 McKinnon.
Yeah.
For the red hot Doug O'Neill barn.
Man, he's hot.
So this horse is stretched out and gone long. It's done nothing wrong. And if you watch the last time out of the Zuma Beach, this horse at about a half-mile pole did clip heels. It says that in the PPs, but cost this horse many lengths. And when this horse turned for home, he's got a wicked turn of foot, and he just exploded and had plenty left in the tank. And I think there's a lot more under the hood there. So that's my 8-1 shot. Gino, you got an 8-1 there and there?
Yeah, I got a horse in here too, but both of the horses you mentioned are both so live. Like McKinnon, what's cool about him, he's a big horse, but he's also athletic. You very rarely see that with young horses. When they're big, they're kind of goofy, right? They're like your buddy who's really big, but he can't. You throw the ball down to him in the basketball court, he flips over his own feet, right? And you're like, dude, you're huge. Just turn around and lay it up, And
kind of like our producer Tyler. He's just goofy. He doesn't,
Exactly. And McKinnon, though, he's athletic. That move, he should have gone down in that last race. The fact that he was able to recover and then come back and win, that was impressive. One of the handicappers that I respect the most was on my show this weekend, Ren Carruthers. She talked about this race, and Georgie, she was very high on Dakota Gold. She's excellent with juveniles. She's excellent with pedigree. She loves Dakota Gold's chances in this spot here. This, to me, is right up there on the best 2 or 3 races of the whole weekend. Honestly, the betting favorite is 4-1, Dubawi Legend, and I don't think that's even going to end up being the favorite because of the outside draw. You're going to have a 4-1, 9-2-ish sort of favorite. The one Modern Games probably takes some money. Tis the Bomb is also very live. I would lean slightly Modern Games, but both the horses that you mentioned are on my tickets. This, to me, is a for sure spread kind of race. I'm going to be alive in the pick 4s, pick 5s, pick 6s. I want as many as I can here to close it out, Georgie.
That sounds like a plan. All right, let's move on to Saturday. Oh, man, what an exciting day Saturday is going to be. And Chappie, right off the bat, I think in race number 5, you on Saturday to kick it off.
Yeah, so Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. I don't know a whole lot about the Euro shipping in, but one thing there is in this race is tons and tons of speed in this race.
Yep.
And a horse who is going to be flying late and who had a tough trip last time, this horse loves to win, is the 11 Fast Boat at 12-1 with Tyler Gaffleone. I give this horse a big shot, and I love horses who love to win races. This horse is 7 wins and 16 starts, will be flying late, third off the lay, and had a brutal trip last time at that tricky Kentucky Downs oval over there.
Yep.
Gino?
How cool is it that every year the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint is different, right? That's the only race that it's like that. And think about how much different this is than like a 6.5 down the hill at Santa Anita.
Yep.
That's like 2 totally different races.
Completely.
It's pretty cool. It's kind of like baseball or in a sport where you get that home field that might be a little different. The stadium's different or whatever it is. To me, going 5 furlongs at this trip Fast Boat is probably one of the best suited in this race for that trip. Really consistent. You know what you're going to get from him. He's going to be in almost all of my exotics. The horse right next to him, Extravagant Kid, is kind of similar. He's very good at that trip, and he's capable of really big efforts. I like the both of them. I use those two with €2 that I'm super high on, A Case of You, and the number 2, Emirati Anna, who I thought visually were both very impressive. So I'll use those two with the horse you mentioned, Chappie, and probably with Extravagant Kid.
And I personally am going to be throwing in Steve Miotti's charge, who really has become a beast of late. It's the home court advantage to Lieutenant Dan, who won the Green Flash at 5 furlongs, won the Eddie D at 6.5 furlongs. How often you get a runner that can win both of them? Yep. I heard the owner talking that this is a big horse, and he's really growing into his own. Like you mentioned, probably started out goofy and now is feeling really good as a 5-year-old. Lieutenant Dan, got the hat trick, looking for 4 in a row, and Lieutenant Dan, that's a tough race. That's a tough race.
No doubt. So hopefully he just feels like running today instead of his buddy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's go to the final pick 4, because we're running out of time and still exciting racing to go. So let's concentrate on the last 4 races, starting with the Breeders' Cup Mile, and many ways to go here to start the pick 4. Gino, how did you see this race?
Many times in the grass races, I don't generally think in the last few years the Southern California horses have been quite as strong a division as maybe the East Coast or sometimes the European horses. I think we got some really live chances in this Breeders' Cup Mile with the SoCal horses. Mo Forza, remember last year he was coming into this race just like this, and then he got hurt. He would have been a major player in that race last year. And how many times in sports or in life do you get to literally get a second chance, like a do-over, especially in horse racing, right? We see it all the time. Horses get really good, and then unfortunately they have an injury, and it sidetracks them, and then they just never get back to where they were. He was able to get right back to where he was a year later. I think that's really cool that he comes into this race with a big shot with some home court advantage. And heck, there's nothing wrong with the horses that were right behind him. You know what you're going to get with Smooth Like Straight. He's going to probably press just off a blowout and hope that he can just kind of get the jump and fall into it. And the horse that was behind them hit the road. Watch his trip. That's the horse who I like.
was talking about that horse.
I was talking about that right before we went on. Brutal trip last time out.
I like Florent Geroux quite a bit, but I think his strength as a rider is with speed, getting horses out to the front, harnessing that speed. He just it was one of those things where he pressed the button at the wrong time. He waited. Mo Forza moved early and then hit the road, had to wait, got shuffled back, and then had to move around and go after Mo Forza. If those trips are flipped, we may have seen a different result.
But you know what, too, Gino, if you go back and look at that race, it almost looked like at the beginning of the race, he tried to hit the road for more speed out of the gate and got kind of caught between horses and shuffled back early also. So there were 2 different spots of trouble there for hit the road. I mean, look, who knows? But now at 15-1, and that horse is going to get overlooked. You're going to get 20-1 plus probably on hit the road because Dan Blacker's a low profile trainer as well. So
one of the good things about Breeders' Cup is we're going to get a great price on anybody who wins this race. Yeah. And my top pick is Mo Forza, 3rd race of the form cycle, coming off a layoff, usually a runner's best. Man, I thought Mo Forza was done in the City of Hope. I thought he was not going to get up, and Pratt somehow found a way, and that one got up in the final strides. I was really, really impressed. I think Mo Forza is going to break through that race with an even better race. We talked about Pratt just putting him in the right spot, home court advantage. I think Mo Forza, to me, is going to be my top pick in that race. All right, let's move on. We got 3 races to go, including the Distaff. And this race, Chappie, there's a lot of runners in here, but everybody's going to be concentrating on Latruska.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel for this race, to be honest with you. There does seem to be a lot of speed, but Latruska is just on such a roll right now. Any horse who's won 17 of 22 lifetime starts, knowing us, we're all going to try to beat this horse because Latruska will probably be 4 to 5.
I was going to do the setup where I was going to say, Latruska, she's won 5 in a row. She should have won 8 in a row. She did. And then I was going to say, but all that being said, I'm not using her. And
take it away, Gino. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this race.
I respect the heck out of everything she's done. And you know what? In this day and age, for her to be just an old school racehorse, we don't see very many of them. She shows up, she fights all the big fights. You know what you're going to get from her. She's just going to go straight to the lead. They don't try to get cute very often. It's just, hey, I'm going, come and catch me. The problem is she's dealt with one other pace presence in some of her other races, maybe 2. She might have 3 or 4 in here. And I don't know if she's going to be able to hold off Horologist right next door, She Dares the Devil right next door, and Private Mission, who all want to be close up. Heck, as time goes by, I don't think wants to be too far out of it either. Now we got 4 or 5 classy horses up front, all pushing. My approach in this race in pick 4s and pick 5s, I'm playing against her. I'm going to use 3 or 4. This is one of the big favorites that you can't. There's a lot of big favorites throughout the weekend. There have to be at least a couple that you take a stand on and say, this is the race where I'm not using. I'm going to play a few others. For me, I'm going to throw in Royal Flag. I'm going to throw in Malathaat and Clairiere as the 2 3-year-olds. I might even throw in Dunbar Road, kind of rounding back into form at a big, big price, taking a swing against Latruska. No Scott.
Love it. Love it.
I love a horse in this race. And one of the good things about this weekend is there's so many live 8-to-1 shots all weekend long. Yep. And here I'm on another 8-to-1 shot. I love Royal Flag in this spot. Yep. Royal Flag was right there against Latruska in the personal ensign. And really in that race, like you mentioned, didn't have a lot of competition up front. For sure, Latruska is going to get competition from Horologist, She Dares the Devil, Private Mission, like you mentioned. It's going to set up perfectly. And nobody closes, we mentioned earlier, better than Rosario. He's going to have this one in a great spot. Chad Brown, all he does is win, 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 win. So throw your hands up. I think Royal Flag at 8-to-1 is going to be fantastic. And I don't know did you see Latruska's workout, the last workout?
The Baltus horse that hooked her in the morning, and they got going a little bit. Is that the thing you're talking about?
Yeah. I thought it was a Doug O'Neill horse. It was a Baltus horse?
I think it was a Baltus horse that might have hooked her in the morning. I got to check.
Whatever horse it was, looked better than Latruska, man.
They did.
Right by.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I know. The trainer was a little bit frazzled. It was like, could you imagine getting ready to train and then someone else comes in and then you're like, oh my gosh, this wasn't what I wanted to see. Yeah.
Just flew right by Latruska like she was standing still. So, I think Latruska might be going the wrong way. And with all the competition going the wrong way, it's only won like 27 in a row. But just too much pace. Pace makes the race.
Sure looks like it.
Too much pace for Latruska, especially. She's probably going to be. She might be 6-5. Yeah, a definite bet against.
I think so. I think she might be odds on. She might be 4-5. You know.
Wow. No, thank you.
Chappie, race 11. Chappie, they scratched domestic spending. Chappie.
I know.
All right, domestic spending
as well.
I was all over domestic spending. I got to go back and look at this race again. I have one other horse that I have a lot of respect for that will be flying late, that we've been talking about a lot. He'll sit chilly, swoop, Mr. Rosario on the 11 Gufo, yet another 8-to-1 shot that I have my eye on. That's a very talented horse. Of course, I absolutely loved domestic spending, but that's the way the ball bounces. So what can you do?
I think that the defending champion is going to win once again. Tarnawa looks so good at Keeneland in 2020, has done nothing wrong since then, was right there, almost won the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. That's one of the biggest races in the world, man. And Tarnawa was right there. The thoroughgraph numbers are the best in the field. Keen obviously won with this one here in the States before. It's going to be one of the favorites that I'm going to have to swallow because I think Tarnawa, especially with the defection of domestic spending, to me, I mean, I might single him. And Dermot Well, man, one of the best trainers in the world as well. This one's won over $4 million. I mean, this is a real racehorse. She's the goods. And with the big scratch, that was a huge scratch because that was, to me, the biggest competition. I love Tarnawa in this race.
Tons of respect for Tarnawa. She is the one to beat. I will make a point. Look at who Tarnawa was defeated by in the ARC last time out. Torquato Tasso, who is a really, really nice one. Now look over at the 9 Sisyphan and look at that horse's recent races. Look at who beat Sisyphan 2 starts back. That
Torquato
very
Tasso.
same runner. And then last time out, look at who Sisyphan was behind when finishing 3rd, again against Group 1 company. Well, that's Alpinista, who was up there beating Walton Street also.
Right.
We're talking about a horse who lightly raced a 3-year-old who doesn't have as much experience and hasn't done as much. But if we're just looking at the same horses and using them as a measuring stick, this horse is going to be 10-1. Tarnawa is going to be 6-5. I'm going to throw in the 9 Sisyphan in a lot of my exotics. This is a lightly raced horse who has a little bit of upside. Heck, if he comes over here and can take one small step forward, he's a 3-year-old. He's got plenty of room for improvement. I love the running lines that he's coming out of. You know, he moved right into contention last time out, and it was really, really nice. You can actually go back and watch some of those German races. I have no clue what they're saying, but I can still watch them, you know. Something about Hungary or this or that, I don't know. But, you know, nonetheless, he ran well.
All right, we get to the feature, the race, one of the biggest races in the world. It's the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. And, you know, many ways to go here. Usually, you know, you'll see a clear-cut favorite, and maybe Knicks Go might end up being the favorite. But this is a day where I think the Breeders' Cup Classic, that there's many contenders in this race. I think there's a lot of them that you can make a case for. Chappie, can we start with you making a case for one of these?
Well, I'm going to make a case for 4 of them, George, but it's not going to be the 2 favorites. You know, first of all, Knicks Go, take nothing away. Super talented, going to get bet, horse to beat. Medina Spirit, I have to admit, I have never been on Medina Spirit, and Medina Spirit has gotten better and better and better. Yet, those 2, at least on paper, are absolutely the best when they both make the lead and they just both seem like they're going to go. Yep. So that being the case, in no order, I guess I'm going to put Hot Rod Charlie on top.
I was going to say, move a little out of the way there, Chappie, because that's the man we need to look at right behind you. That big, beautiful skull right behind you. We're looking at Dougie, 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 Doug. Let's do it.
Mr. Dougie Fresh is on fire. And I think this horse is going to set a perfect trip with our man Flavian Pratt, who will once again have this horse in a great spot. The other horses I give a big look to, obviously Essential Quality, who should get a great trip off the pace. Georgie, you mentioned kind of the now horse that should sit off, and I'll let you talk about that a little bit more because that was you, Max Player. And I think the horse who's going to outrun his odds, who just threw in a flat race last time from off the pace, is Tripoli, who's going to be a monstrous price at 15-1 on the morning line.
I'm going to go next because I want to leave the last word for Gino, because Gino probably did more homework on this race than we did on the entire card. Chappie.
Yeah.
I tend to believe that. I think that Tripoli's certainly doing well, and I feel bad that Pereira's off. I know he shouldn't be here in the Breeders' Cup, but man, Pereira's done such a good job with him.
Yeah.
Hot Rod Charlie, I think that even if he wins, he's going to try to find a way to get disqualified. I think that's his MO. He's always looking to try to hit somebody. So I'm not going with Hot Rod Charlie. The speed, I mean, there is a lot of speed in here. Art Collector's fast. Of course, Medina Spirit is fast. And I don't think any of them are faster than Knicks Go, but they all can't get the lead, and they all need the lead. Yep. And I can't see Medina Spirit sitting. I just can't see it behind Knicks Go. And he might have to, because Knicks Go is just flat out fast. But I think they're going to hurt each other. And the now horse right now is Max Player. He's just doing fantastic. What? Asmussen goes to Santana. Whoa, what? There's an upset right there. But I think, man, the last 2 races have been sensational. He's getting better and better. He's got the kind of style that he's not going to be way back. He's going to be stalking and set a perfect trip. He just ran a -2 on the Thoroughgraph. That is better than anybody except Knicks Go. He's just getting better and better. 8-1, another 8-1 shot with a big. I love this day. It's a fantastic day. and you can bet $300, $400, $700. It's not going to affect it. It's going to be 8-1 no matter what, because celebrities from around the country will be wagering. It's just a fantastic day. You know, and
I think our favorite number is 8-1 today. We've mentioned about 30
a
of
lot
them.
of 8-1 shots. And you know what I've noticed? I was the morning line odds maker at Fresno. Sorry, a little track. But when you put a horse 8-1, because you really don't know what to do with him.
In the middle, right?
You really don't know.
They could be down to 5 or they could go up to 15, right? It's like no man's land.
Is a number that wins a lot because the morning line odds maker puts him there because I don't think he's the favorite, but he's not a long shot. He's not. It's just a number that wins a lot. And I love Max Player as a big, big player in the Classic. Gino, the last word to you.
Yeah, you mentioned Hot Rod Charlie, who I'm going to be using in a lot of exotics. Georgie, he's kind of like the hot rod for the wrestling fans out there, Ratty Piper, right? He's a little, right? He kind of has a little fiery.
Yeah, he's got a fight
come right at you, a little Jimmy Snuka with the coconut. He's going to be, coming at him. So Hot Rod, it's all about the trip with him, right? I do trust that Flavian will be able to use his speed, make the other speed horses work a little bit, and then carve out the trip right behind them, sitting in third or fourth. I think Hot Rod Charlie will have every opportunity if he's good enough. So trip for me with him, I think he ends up getting it. George, you mentioned Max Player, who is a must-use in a lot of my tickets too, because look at how much he improved when they started to just get a little more aggressive with him, place him into the race more. He was always good. If you look at his races, heck, this was a horse who was third in the Belmont and third in the Travers. We kind of forget about that. He's always been good, but this year
used to be a dead closer. Yeah.
And when you do it, he did it in the race in the slop. And then I was a little worried because sometimes when anything happens in a race in the slop, you wonder, did they just like that track?
Right,
Maybe they showed more speed that day. But then he came right back in the Jockey Club and again showed that more tactical speed. He could get a perfect trip. And you even hit the other one. We're all on the same horses here, and we kind of all handicapped the race the same way, thinking that I don't really want the one-dimensional speeds. I can't see them not running into each other, not softening each other up at least a little bit. So give me Hot Rod Charlie, give me Max Player, give me Essential Quality, who I've kind of warmed up a little bit more to because I think he actually will get a pretty good trip in here. And then Tripoli was the other one that Chappie mentioned. He kind of got floated a little wide into the turn last time out. We see that sometimes with some of the Baffert runners. They play a little blocker for one another. Stablemates will do that. Azul Coast floated him wide. And I think his chances after that were compromised. I expect him to run a lot better. He likes Del Mar. Bottom of your exactas, tries, and supers, you could do a lot worse than throwing Tripoli in there.
What? Real quick, one interesting thing about Essential Quality. If you watch Essential Quality, I mean, the horse just wins. But at the half-mile pole, he always looks like he's all in.
He looks done.
They're already shoving, know, and I guess that's obviously that's just the way you got to ride.
He does just enough to win, but he wins so many 8 on 9
wins, maybe.
Just win.
And he does just not enough to make me want to bet against him every time.
Right.
He was a little flashier than I'd like back. But every time I'm trying to, you're right. He was grindy. He was all in. He had to do this or that. And then every time he does something different and he makes me look stupid. But
100%.
He's a really honest horse.
Do you see adding blinkers again to Hot Rod Charlie? I just feel he's going to go to the lead as well. Or what do you think of that?
I think that's, I don't know if it's a full cup, whatnot. I think it's more of the ducking in the last two times.
That could be it.
Yeah. Maybe it's more than that. And like we've talked about a few times, if there was going to be one person, honestly, one jockey to be on the type of horse that Hot Rod Charlie is, where I know he's got speed but can sit, I'd want it to be Pratt. I think in that situation with the speed horse who can also come off, I trust his mind and how he's going to gauge the shape of the race better than anyone else that would be on him.
Agreed.
Hey, if you do bet the races, we encourage you to bet with First Bet, as they got money back specials in every race, Friday and Saturday, every single race. So I love the money back special. That's one of the best promotions. And we got it in every race. So we wish you guys the best of luck in these 2 days that are going to be fantastic. Gino, you are stellar. It's always great to have you. I know you got 6 more shows to do just today, so we're going to let you go. But thanks so much for being on the show, Chappie.
Love it.
We got a bankroll, Chappie.
Nice.
Yeah, not big enough. That'll be out after my first pick 5, but it's a start. So let's keep it going, boys. Gino, thanks again, buddy.
Anytime.
This is always fun. We wish everybody the best of luck. Let's get them.
Good luck, folks.